Hey, good morning, everyone. John Henry Soto here. Welcome to 7 a.m. It's 7 a.m. And it is June 15th, 2021. What can I say? What can I say? Been a couple of crazy days for me. I'll be talking more about what's happening, craziness in my life right now. All good things, going to be great things. But it's been a challenge, a lot of activity going on. But the show must go on, as they say. And I am here, and I hope you're all doing well, taking care of yourselves out there. And please like, share, and subscribe if you like these morning chats. They're going to get a little bit more creative as the years go on, and figure out more content and more helpful content. The purpose of this show for me is to have a few laughs, if I'm funny, some positivity, drink some coffee, and just have a nice positive outlook for the day ahead, and possibly make you guys feel a little bit better as you go on your day, on your travels to work, to taking care of the kids, taking that walk, that drive, to work. Or maybe you're at work right now and you do an overnight and you're getting off of work. Whatever the case may be, I'm putting myself in a position of trying to make things a little bit better for whoever blesses me with the opportunity and lends me their ears to communicate. So I appreciate you all. Thank you very much. God bless you. And let's move on to the show here. So we're doing movies this week, and today we're doing one of my favorite films. Actually, one of my favorite actors is Jack Lemmon, and he did a film. Neil Simon wrote a film, wrote a play actually, because he's a playwright. And this is one of the only. I have very few DVDs. This is one of them. This one I had to go out and order because I they didn't have it. And I bought this probably, gosh, 15 years ago or so. And I had to go and they didn't have it. I asked for them if they can order it for me, because back in them days, you can have people order um, these things for you. And there was still, we didn't have Netflix. There was no Netflix. There was still a Blockbusters, and there was video stores. And I remember I ordered this one from a video store, and they sent it. It took about a week. They called me up to come pick it up, and I watched it a bunch of times. It's Jack Lemmon and Bancroft, The Prisoner of Second Avenue, comedy written by Neil Simon. Very, very wonderful, wonderful film. And one of the reasons why I love the film so much is the performances are obviously just top of the line. But I love the direction also. Melvin Frank, who directed the film, had some really great. He knew how to capture Jack Lemmon, and that's like a really important thing when you're talking about when you're a director, right? Because a director, you can't have the pressure of making sure that you're giving everyone airtime and that you're directing things. That has nothing to do with anything, right? The only thing you want to do is you want to tell a story, right? But within that story, sometimes there's an element that pops up that's more engaging, that really can move the story even better, because this character, you realize it really pops out. And there's a lot of characters in this film that I can put this down, right? There was a lot of characters in this film that really did that, and he was able to capture them. Melvin Frank, the director, um, and of course the writing of this is one of my books that I have. I'm a big Neil Simon fan. This is just one of them. I have two of them, just this thick actually, of all the plays from Neil Simon. This is volume two, and in here you can see the Prisoner of Second Avenue. As a matter of fact, when I was auditioning a lot, which I will be again in the future when things start opening up a little bit more. Um, and not anyway, when things start opening up a little bit more. But the um, the cool thing about it is that, hold on a second, you can get monologues, wonderful monologues from Neil Simon. So I had a monologue which was from Prisoner of Second Avenue, and it was, um, the character of um, Jack Lemmon. You know, so the story basically is, if you have not seen the film, it's a wonderful film. It's Jack Lemmon and Bancroft. Gene Sachs was in it. Was in this. Elizabeth Wilson, Florence Stanley. Again, directed by Melvin Frank, written by Neil Simon, and the story is basically a this man who suddenly Jack Lemmon, who plays a guy named Mel Edison, who suddenly got laid off. Right, he lost his job and stuff, and he just basically suffers a nervous breakdown. And you see the buildup of this nervous breakdown is happening, and he's kind of losing his mind. He's always had a job. He's always had been, supporting everything, and now his wife has to, and played by Anne Bancroft, plays a character named Edna, and Edna has to go out and get a job and work and support the family. Now this is, film was 1975, so it's kind of around the period where women's um movement and Gloria Steinem and those kinds of things were kind of at the peak of its momentum, right? So a woman working was still sort of a new thing, right? It was still kind of like it wasn't a thing yet, right? Now it's just regular, right? But um that's the way that's what basically happens. And then he goes through this arc, and the arc is very a wonderful transition and a wonderful example of how brilliant you can have a guy like Jack Lemmon and Anne Bancroft play off each other comedically, but also have that same realism and sympathy for what they're going through, and but still have that fire and that anger because they were fighting with one another, right? So they still had that thing, but it was an awesome um, performance because it can be very slapsticky, you know what I mean? And once you start getting into slapstick, which he does, he's written some slapstick as well. If you guys have never heard of California Suite, California Suite, very very hilarious. I think there's another one called Rumors, right? Rumors is all it's a huge farce, right? A lot of slapsticky kind of really quick kind of things. There's a lot of different uh, um, opportunities for losing the momentum of the actual product by putting too much slapsticky in there, but you have these two brilliant actors who were able to take the craziness of these here's Anne Bancroft. She was so good in this, um of these characters, and really be able to make you believe, right? Make you believe that this can happen and that these characters are like this. And Mel and Edna, living in New York City. There was a garbage strike in the 70s. The New York City was I was in the South Bronx, obviously, from when I was born till 1995 or something. Yeah, 1995 when I moved out, and maybe 96 or something. But I remember the garbage strikes, and all the garbage was just left out, and it was just really, really disgusting. And there was just piles and piles. I mean, if you can imagine the South Bronx, which was already had its issues by getting, by having abandoned buildings and trash and garbage and old mattresses and burnt cars and that whole environment that I grew up in. If you can imagine now a garbage strike. So now the little help that we got of somebody picking up stuff That's taken away. So the stress is real. Um, Now, of course, these are people living in Manhattan, somewhere. It looks like somewhere on in the 60s to 70s of Manhattan, First Avenue, Second Avenue, Third Avenue. That's what it looks like. The environment. I haven't really. I might be able to watch the film because there's a lot of on location filmmaking that I might be able to see catch a street sign or something, to see where they lived or where it was based. But it's definitely New York City, somewhere in Manhattan, right? And the garbage strike is going on. It's really hot outside. Um, the neighbors, Mel yells and gets yelled at by the neighbors, and there's a wonderful scene, a balcony scene. And on the balcony, I thought when I first watched the film, or not, maybe not when I first watched it, but later on, I looked at the balcony. There's a famous balcony scene that you can watch, um, where he's yelling up at the guy at the balcony upstairs, and kind of they're going back and forth. And I thought when I later on in life, I thought that that was a set. They built a set, but watched the whole behind the scenes, kind of like a mini documentary on the film, and they were actually on location in an apartment, and he was really looking over the city on this balcony, and it almost looks like it's green screen. But then I was thinking, well, man, it looks pretty good for 1975, although Star Wars came out 2 years later, but that wasn't really green screen. Those were actually models. So I don't know but they were actually there. It was on location. It was actually at a balcony, and they really did those scenes right where you saw them in a real place, which probably still exists because these buildings were legendary buildings, these pre-war buildings in Manhattan that are still standing, that are pretty high up, um, and one of the most impressive things were the other supporting characters that were there. Like I mentioned, Gene Sachs, who played who played Mel's brother, Harry Edison. This is Gene Sachs right here, and he was fantastic. He's very successful. He lives in the country. He's trying to tell his little brother, Mel, move to the country. What are you doing out here? It's disgusting. It's filthy. The city there's no place for a man to live. Come outside, move to um and you get this idea through the whole film that or through most of the film, that Harry is the the guy who everybody wants to be like. Nobody, and everybody's trying to help poor Mel, the Jack Lemmon character. But as the film progresses and you start seeing the different arc, you start realizing that Harry, Mel's older brother, um, is extremely jealous of Mel. Mel has the life he wants because Mel is more living, more reckless, he's just more out there. And, you know, Harry is very, very conservative, and, has a very steady job, and has a nice place and a nice house. So you realize at the end that it's really Mel who's in control, and who has more power than he's given himself credit for. And Anne Bancroft stuck by him through the whole thing, through everything, and she was really supportive. And he was just going through some stuff because he just had never been out of work for that amount of time, and going to unemployment, and all these things that he wasn't used to. A couple of interesting things, that there was a cameo by this gentleman, which you might remember. So in the film, um, Jack Lemmon, or Mel Edison, bumps into this guy who you might recognize, and he looks back at him, and Mel checks. I won't even give away the joke, but he checks his wallet, and he chases this guy for stealing his wallet. And then what happens is kind of funny. But there's a scene right here where Mel is like losing it. He's like, "Give me the wallet! Give me the wallet!" And the guy gives him the wallet. He's like, "All right, man, all right. You take the wallet, man." Now, this was 1975. And a year later, the guy became this guy. And then legend was born. And this is actually also one of my favorite films. Rocky One, Rocky. Actually, I love the whole saga of Rocky. Is like a something that I love. I might actually do a whole week of Rocky movies because I love Rocky. I love the character. I love the underdog. The underdog being, making it and fighting and battling all different types of obstacles and still succeeding, moving forward, not giving up. There's that wonderful speech. I'm gonna go off on Rocky for a second, but there's that wonderful speech in Rocky, just Rocky Balboa, the movie. One of the final ones is final fights that he had, where he talks about moving forward, and he said, "That's how winning is done." So if you know what you want, go out and get what if you know what you, well, he says, if you know what you want, go out and get what you want, but you gotta be willing to take the hits and not blaming him or he because you ain't where you want to be. You know, Cowards do that, and that ain't you. You're better than that. So he does that wonderful thing. But anyway, Rockies are great. So anyway, he does a little cameo in there with Jack Lemmon, which is really really funny. You have to check that out. Um, Now, one of the things I've been trying to figure out is there's so many outlets to watch films today, right? And everything costs a few bucks, and that's really annoying. I mean, I love the fact that I have the DVD for this film, and I really would love to. And I have a lot of DVDs of films that I actually love. I don't really have a DVD player. I have a computer that I still can watch some stuff on. This computer that I bought here has no DVD player. I have no use for it in this, and I didn't want to put another component in there. But I just really felt that it was difficult to tell people where to go. You can go obviously to Amazon, and watch it on Amazon or buy it from Amazon. But I don't know where else to go to watch classic films. I'm sure there's some sites, and maybe if anybody out there knows of a site where you can watch films, and I don't mind paying the monthly fee. As a matter of fact, I prefer to pay because I don't like free stuff. Like when it comes to art, I don't steal music. I don't download illegal anything. I always respect the artist, and whatever it costs, that's what I'm going to pay for it, within the systems that we have. Like I know that a lot of the music streaming services, unfortunately, the artist doesn't really get a lot of money, but they get something, and at least there's a place you can go and you can enjoy the music, right? That's what the whole thing is. The whole important thing is that we can enjoy the art that's been made, right? Artists in the future are going to have much more control over their own art, especially if you understand if you understand blockchain, and if you understand you know cryptocurrencies, and you understand that the future is, and I'm talking about the future really really soon. They're going to be able to have more control over their content and their income, but as of right now, a lot of these big companies have sold to a lot of these platforms, which I subscribe to one of them in particular. I don't subscribe to iTunes. I do have Spotify. Why am I talking about this anyway? It's not about that, but anyway, because of streaming. Because I would like to tell people where you can go and watch all these films that I'm talking about. So a lot of them you have to go find them. Hope maybe Netflix, maybe Hulu has them. Amazon Prime definitely will have something, or at least a download that you can download it for $3 or $4 and watch it. Um, so there are a lot of different services that you can watch films in. Um, but I'm not sure where you can actually find like a lot of classic films, the older films. I know that there's some on Netflix and things like that. But anyway, if you have any information on that, I would love to hear it. You can actually just comment here or just send me an email at johnhenrysoto@protonmail.com, and let me know. So that is the film. You know, this film right here, the wonderful film, Prisoner of Second Avenue, written by Neil Simon. Check it out, watch it. You're gonna laugh. It's a great film. It's got a lot of wonderful monologues in it, wonderful points. Also, it makes some great statements. Even that work today, even though it's from 1975, it's a film that does hold up. Um, Not only does it hold up with its comedy, but it also holds up with its message. It has a message in it as well. We're all prisoners of sometimes of our environments, right? You get up and you get into this workaday world where you get up, you go to work, you come home, you do that, and years go by and you're like, oh man, I've been doing the same thing over and over. And then when that changes, when something changes, like it did last year for, millions of people, if not billions of people, um, it shifts your viewpoints and it changes the way you look at things and it makes you appreciate what you currently have and maybe even look at some goals you've had that you maybe kind of forgot about or you put aside because you thought you were going to have more time and you realized here we are 20 years later and I still haven't pushed into that goal, into that thing that I wanted. Um, so it did change a lot. And the message in Prisoner of Second Avenue has a lot to do with that. We are prisoners of the lives that we create for ourselves. We're responsible for it too. We buy into the whole the whole lie basically, right? We buy into the fact that you need to live a certain way. We need to the commute to work, the this kind of job, and a lot of companies right now are realizing we don't need to live that way. We don't need to be prisoners of our existence, of our own creation. We create these prisons for ourselves, right? And this story with Jack Lemmon and Anne Bancroft, Mel and Edna Edison, they were able to comedically show another side of being trapped in this workaday world and getting shifted and getting your stability shaken, right? Because that's what happens when someone is consistent, right? I had somebody once tell me, I was like, how you doing? I was, "Oh, I'm doing good, I'm doing good, stable, I'm stable." And I remember thinking that was one of the saddest things I've ever heard. Someone being stable means that they're on a rock, and it's not moving anywhere, it's not going anywhere. You want to be a shooting star, right? You want to be able to move and do things. Um and nothing wrong with stability and confidence and stability and having the mental capacity to know what you are and who you are and where you are and all those things, but that wasn't where that came from. This is a little bit different. So when someone has a stability and they have this incredible foundation that they're really solid on, but suddenly it cracks, right? Like last year with the pandemic, right? It did that for a lot of people, and suddenly they're left without something that they held dear, that held them in place. Now you're floating. Now you're trying to figure out where you are and how well will you cope with situations like that. And you see that Mel did not cope well in the beginning. He got better because he fought back. He didn't take it. He fought back. As a matter of fact, one of the moments where he fights back is this, even though it's a hilarious thing, but it's one of the moments where he decided that he's not going to take it anymore. He's going to fight back. And it's more of a metaphor to life, where you're not going to let your environment, ju- you know, you're not going to adapt to your environment. You're going to make your environment adapt to you. I'm in control of my environment. My environment is not in control of me, right? And so this story really does a wonderful job of telling that story, making you laugh, making you think, and also keeping it real, because a lot of the messages still apply today when you hear the conversations that are going on. If you don't know Neil Simon, you have to know Neil Simon. Neil Simon is one of our treasures here in America, um, as a playwright. Um, he wrote just in this book alone. These are all good, by the way. California Suite, hilarious. The Sunshine Boys. The film was okay. Wasn't great. It was Walter Matthau and George Burns, for anybody who remembers George Burns. Um, this one was actually good. Prisoner of Second Avenue, The Gingerbread Lady, The Good Doctor, and God's Favorite. These are all great plays. This is a volume two. You can get volume one, which has the Odd Couple. If you guys remember the Odd Couple, the original Odd Couple was also with this guy. I mean, this guy right here, Jack Lemmon, and with Walter Matthau as well. They used a lot of the same peeps. That was the original, and then later on, right, it was Jack Klugman and the guy who played Felix Unger, Tony. Uh, oh, I forgot his name. Anyway, he played. Oh, I can't believe I forgot his name. I love that actor. I used to watch The Odd Couple all the time. But Neil Simon is he played Felix Unger, Oscar Madison, right? Jack Hugman, Tony. I was gonna say Tony Orlando. I'll figure it out. But if you know it, let me know because I forgot his name. So there you have it, folks. Prisoner of Second Avenue. Check it out. Wonderful, wonderful film. Again, check Amazon, Netflix, Hulu. I don't think it's on Hulu, but you can check it anyway and see what it is. Um, and yeah. All right, folks. I want to thank you very much for tuning in. I appreciate if you like this. Please like, share, and subscribe. Tell your friends, and I would appreciate that very much. It helps a lot. Also, if you're on the YouTube channel and you happen to catch it, just hit the little like button, and just maybe write a comment and let me know. Hey, thumbs up, or just say something. That helps a lot with the numbers and helps YouTube know, like, oh, this guy has a friend. So thank you very much, everybody. Have a wonderful day. I will see you all tomorrow morning. Make today great. Do the things that you love. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you tomorrow. And as always, peace.